Mrs. Kevin and I have the honor of introducing to you the parents of the bride and groom as well as our bridal party. So I'm going to ask you guys to put your hands together. Parents of the bride, Mr. and Mrs. Phil and Tracy Tremblay. The parents of the groom, Mr. and Mrs. Scott and Lisa Sweet. Our bridal party today, Maria Palmer, escorted by Joe Perry. Shannon Herb, escorted by Jordan Thomas. Maggie McDermott and Eric Kettler. Ann Wayne and Sean Wayne. Lexi Schreeman and Eli Tremblay. Mary Tremblay and Sam Sweet. Laura Tremblay and Ethan Sweet. Annalise Gerard, Eli Nelson. Maid of honor, Anne Lotta, escorted by Peter Tremblay. Today's flower girl, Miss Anne Marie Sweet. Matron of honor, Daniel Warren, escorted by the best man, Liam Pucksta. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor, Mr. and Mrs. Isaac Sweet. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we can have Father Sean come forward and lead us in grace this evening.
Your attention, please. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks that we have been, through your providence, witnesses to a new creation today, a creation that didn't exist before, the bond of marriage between between Julia and Isaac. She's my DRE. We give you thanks that we've been part of that, and that creation of a new family. And so we gather to celebrate not only Isaac and Julia, but also the sacrament itself. We ask you to bless the food that we eat, our friendship, our conversation, and all who are in our prayers, and in particular those who go without. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Buon appetito.
Now the honor of the first speech this evening goes to our father of the bride.
Thank you very much. My name is Bill Trombley, and I'm the father of the bride. For those of you who don't know me, I'd like to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Sweet, Scott and Lisa Sweet. Can you just stand up, please? My beautiful wife of 31 years of marriage. We'd like to thank and welcome everyone to come. I know you people, some people came a long way. We got some people from Florida, right? All from Florida. And the Sweet family's from New Hampshire. Okay. Thank you for sharing your time and resources to make this a special event for the wedding of my daughter, Lisa. Julia and Isaac. I'd like to just mention real quick some people that recently passed before us. Louis Stewbury, Tewksbury, and Jack Kessler III. I'd like to introduce the grandparents, Wayne and Juanita Sweet. And Connie Tewksbury couldn't be here tonight. Julia's grandparents, Peter and Mary Laveau, and Robert and Kathy Tremblay are deceased, but we have special... Dorothy Tremblay. But we have special grandparents. Is that my phone? Pam Jacobs, go over, please. And Kathy Tremblay. Kathy is the mother of Father Peter, who said Mass today. I would also like to recognize the next group of people. Is there any active military people in here? Please stand up. Is there any veterans in this room? Please stand up. Thank you for your service. Just one quick note, in case there's an unlikelihood there's a fire, just follow me and try to keep up. The good Lord gave my wife and I 7 children, and our first 2 children were girls. So I said to the Lord one day, hey buddy, how about throwing me a boy? The farm's getting a little bigger, we're getting a few more animals, and as it went, my third born was 3 weeks late. So obviously it was a female. But I figured the good Lord knew what he was doing. My wife reminded me of a story once when Julie was this little. She was chased up on one of our tractors by a turkey, a killer turkey. So things weren't starting out too good on the farm for my daughter. But I think that's what the start of her love for animals came from. She especially loved them at Thanksgiving time. Julia learned at target practice. We used to go shooting, and she showed an interest in hunting. And one year, I was successful in a deer hunt, and I went to get Julia to come with me, and I'll show her how to field dress a buck. And Julia asked me if she could do the cutting. So things were looking up. I'm no Matt. I know Matt's here. Henson? Matt, you here? He's the funniest guy I know right here. Jake's pretty close. Julia almost went unscathed through her childhood. Her other siblings all had their trip to the ER for something or another. But Julie was cutting the grass one day. And someone in the house told me, you better go out and see Julia. And I went out, and she fell in my arms. She was just limp. And it's the first time in my life I felt powerless for Julia. And I didn't know what it was. I was powerless for the first time. So I did what any husband would do. Honey, Julia wants you. As it turned out, she broke her arm cutting the grass. She hit a golf ball and hit the tree and came back and hit her in the arm. When all my kids play baseball, you become the coach after a while. 10 years of coaching as your kids grow up and come through the system. Well, Julia, when she was old enough, Julia loves sports. She loves football. She loves baseball. In fact, sometimes we can't sit in the same room when the football game's on because she screams. And normally she's right with what she says, especially when we play New England. I don't know how that's going to fly, buddy. But anyway, Julia saw that I was a terrible baseball coach. And she told me so. She took away my book, my playbook, and she took my shirt. Anyways, that was Julie turned out to be a pretty good coach. Pretty respectable. Julie's love for theater. She loves theater. She was in our Rosary plays. She sings. She was in high school plays. And I think my favorite play I ever saw Julie when she played Miss Hannigan in Hannigan. Julie was the other #1 farm hand that I have. And I'll keep this short because I know I'm the only thing between you and dinner. So anyways, Julia, she drove all my tractors, and she could ted a bale of hay, or ted hay, she could rake hay. And I'll tell you, I had some boys in the farm I hired, and she could throw hay better than most of the boys we ever had. So things were looking really good. You try to protect your children, you try to keep them from the evils of the world, and you try to teach them the best you can, and that's where my wife comes in. She homeschools, well, you know what I'm talking about. She homeschools my children, and when they got old enough, they get to go to Catholic high school. But my wife, daily communicate, took the kids with her to church, and she builds this foundation for our children. I took my daughter to karate class. Julie's goal was to become a black belt. We trained for years. We were in karate for 10 years, on and off for 10 years. And Julia, one of her goals was to be a sensei. And we trained hard, we worked hard, and when the day came that Julia took her black belt test, she has to fight all the black belts in the dojo, and all the ones that were invited from the neighboring dojos to show not only her speed, her strength, but her endurance. Well, I was the first one to fight Julia. She kicked me so hard. I flew, and I'm telling you, I flew. I had enough energy, I slid on my back about 15 foot and rolled back over on my feet. And for the second time in my life, I was powerless. Julie came to play. She's focused. Julie wanted to be a nurse when she went to college. And her goal was she wanted to be a nurse, she wanted to come out, and she wanted to work for Roswell Park Institute in Buffalo. 4 long years in college, a lot of work. She got a nursing degree, and she got a job at Roswell. I give Julie a lot of credit for what she does. She's such a focused, just a focused individual. Julie met Isaac in college. We drove down once, met Isaac. I knew things were going to maybe get a little heated up. I think they're going to become a couple. And it was a busy year for me because Nick, my son-in-law, married my oldest daughter, and he came over he called me on the phone. He said, "Mr. Tremblay, can I come over and talk to you?" And you kind of know what's up next. So I said, "Come over Sunday. I'm cooking dinner Sunday." So we come over. I'm at the grill cooking. He came over with some beer, put it on the grill, and he said, "I like to marry your daughter." So Sean comes along. Sean was Daniel's Daniel's boyfriend, and I knew something was going on. So he called me up and says, "When can I talk to you?" I said, "Well, come on over for Sunday dinner, and we'll take care of it." So he came over Sunday, brought some beer, put it on the grill, and he asked for Daniel's hand, and I said, "Sure." After I asked my wife. So I was all prepared. Isaac called and he says, "Can we talk?" I said, 4 o'clock at the grill, bring beer. If anyone here has a sibling at home, it's kind of like hanging out a long time, maybe he's not, or she, maybe you want them to move along a little bit, rent my grill. Just another quick note before I forget. We're all here having a good time tonight. A lot of people, if someone leaves you or someone leaves and you don't have a friend or knowing someone that can drive you home, if you can't drive home, please take a taxi. And I'll tell you right now, I did it for the very first time. It was a little embarrassing at first. I didn't know how to drive one. I picked up 2 tolls and I paid $40. Do you know that they wave you through a sobriety checkpoint in the day? I'm just saying. Okay, now I know I gotta hurry this up. I just got a little marital advice. Married 31 years successfully. My wife and I never had an argument. We never had an argument. She told me to get out. But you have to have a sense of humor. You have to have a good sense of humor. And you have to know when to use your sense of humor and when not to use it. An example, once, I thought it was going to be funny. My wife and I went out, we met people we didn't know before, and I said to them, "Hi, this is my wife, mother of 7. And she turned to them and said, "This is my husband, father of 4. So be careful there, buddy. So I just want to end with a little marital advice. But I just want to tell you a real quick story. A little boy was walking with his father, and the little boy said, "Dad, careful where you're going, because I'm walking in your footsteps." So there's 3 little words I like to use, and half the people heard this. How many people here are wedding crashers? Okay, well, congratulations, you got through security. We come across a lot of issues in our lives, in our marriages, but there's 3 little words that normally can solve a lot of issues. One is, "I was wrong," and the second one is, "You were right." You use that before, haven't you? And the third one is, "I love you." And if those phrases were executed properly, it can revert to what my favorite my 3 little words are. get upstairs. Well, I got a lot better laugh at the last one. I mean, a lot. So, in lieu of a toast, I'd like to offer a blessing over the couple. If you feel comfortable, raise your hand over the couple. If you don't, you can raise your glass. But call down the Holy Spirit to bless this marriage and give them the courage and the wisdom. Amen.
Amen.
At this time, I'd like to ask the best man up forward for his toast.
Hey, how you guys doing? So, I'm the best man. My name's Liam Puxta. First of all, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming. Definitely thank you for Scott and Lisa and Phil and Tracy for raising two incredible people. And everybody else that's responsible for making this day happen. So, I first met Isaac when I was around 8 or 9 years old. And my family just moved into this town called Charlestown. And my mom comes up to me, is like, we just moved next to this really nice family. You know, they're Catholic, they have a lot of nice kids, they have a kid at your age, he's into sports and everything. And that all sounded fantastic on paper until our sports competitive got the best of us once or twice. A few times. Lisa Sweet was actually telling me last night that Isaac would go outside and play, like, okay, you know, all happy, oh, I'm gonna go see Liam and go hang out with Liam. Walk right over, a couple hours later, just come back all mad, I never want to see Liam again. And then the next day he wakes up, oh, I'm just gonna go see Liam again. And like that was the constant cycle for years and years. But no, we had a lot of fun on Caliban Hill. Our mothers were really good to us, which means they didn't let us watch a lot of TV or play a lot of video games, so we had to entertain ourselves most time. And doing that, you know, really mostly resulted in us hurting ourselves or any other shenanigans that we really had. You know, playing baseball was a big thing. Like between our two houses, we had a big baseball field between us. So it was playing baseball, then jumping in his pool, and then going downstairs and like hanging out and everything. And it was a lot of like little tiny stories are really like some of the best memories that I ever had. And then there's like the really stupid ones where we would dress up as Bigfoot and scare our neighbors. Pretty much like throw rocks at each other. My favorite one is teaming up and ganging up and beating up my little brother. So that was a good one as well. But yeah, I spent a lot of time with Isaac growing up, and you know, I really saw him like become like a really well-respected, genuine man when he grew up. And then we both ended up leaving. So I stayed in college, like we graduated high school. I went to college in New Hampshire, and he went out to Ohio. And it was one day at NHA when I was in college that I first heard about Julia. And as I was saying that he met like this most incredible person, and they were talking, and they're gonna go out on their first date and everything. And right off the bat, he spoke the absolute world of you, Julia. And it was you know, the motivation was just there like right off the bat. And then I didn't end up meeting Julia until like a few months later when they both graduated. They both came up to New Hampshire, and so Julia comes up at the house, and she's a big, as Mr. Tremblay said, a really big football fan. So was I, and so Isaac gave me the warning. He's like, "Don't talk about football with Julia." I'm like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Oh no! Why no? I love football. She loves football." She's like, you know, Bills and Patriots was the real biggest thing, and she's like, just don't even go there. And then so my first impression of Julia, you know, she comes up, you know, very confident, strong person, absolute sweetheart, you know, kind-hearted and everything, really genuine. And I was like, what is she doing with Isaac? No, I'm just kidding. That's just a joke, people. But yeah, so later that night, we go in the back of the house, and like we have a fire going, and so we start talking about like Isaac and I start talking about like all the stories like, of us growing up in Charlestown and everything, like all the fantastic stories. Again, it was like all the stupid stuff of us like hurting each other, us doing this and that, and you know, just like the look on Julia's face at the time was just like, what did I get myself into? And No, but we all had a really great time, and Julia, I just found out she was like just a very, very special person right off the bat. And so they both graduated college, and when they graduated, Isaac was in New Hampshire while Julia was out in Buffalo, and they were apart for a few months actually. And when I was hanging out with Isaac, I could really tell that it was really hard on him, and I'm sure it was really hard on her as well. But after viewing like their relationship and like just seeing them together, it's really true what they say. It's like absence really does make the heart grow fonder, and I'm really glad that you guys persevered with each other. And I've never seen two more perfect people together, and that I know. So I love you both, and to Isaac and Julia.
And now our matron of honor today.
Good evening. I'm Danielle, the matron of honor this evening, and the bride's older sister. On behalf of my entire family, I want to thank everybody for coming here today to celebrate this very sweet couple. All of my best childhood memories have you, Julia, in them. Some memories are much too embarrassing to share at this incredibly beautiful wedding, but you know them, so that's all that matters. It's almost surreal watching you as the blushing bride today. As little girls, most of our time was spent playing with dolls and creating their imaginary lives. We grew up so free, letting our imaginations run wild, and now look at us. We have real-life husbands and houses, and today you are starting a life we only dreamed about as little girls. I cannot express to you how happy it makes me to watch you as the bride today. After all the boys that you had swooned over, and we would talk about until all hours of the night in our rooms, you have found the one. I have never seen you so happy with another man, and I'm excited to watch what adventures the two of you will find together. Julia Christine, even if you are not always sure of it, I always knew that you would do and be great things. The more that you grow, the more that I look up to you. You are one of my inspirations. I was right there with you as we pushed through the hard parts of growing up, the terrible hairstyles, and the broken trust from friends. I am so in awe of the truly joyful, confident, stunning woman you are today. You make the most gorgeous bride. Isaac, you have one of the world's greatest jobs of waking up next to my baby sister and walking through this life with one of the strongest women that I know. I can say it now because Julia is your wife, that as boy crazy as Julia was as a teenager, and trust me, she was crazier than anybody that I knew about boys, she has never been more head over heels for anybody as she is about you. And on your end, anyone that can handle the chaos of the Tremblays is a man who really loves my sister. After all of the movies about weddings that we've watched and the unofficial planning of your perfect day for the past 11 years, it's finally here. Julia, you are strong, you are brave, but your best quality is how deeply you love. Isaac, you are the luckiest man today because my sister is the most loyal woman with the best hair that you'll ever meet. And she gets to be your wife. Julia, we were all sad to see you move away, but when I visited, I knew that you were happier there because you were finally with the one that you love. Isaac, as long as you plan a trip to Buffalo around a Bills home game, I think that she'll survive football season in New Hampshire. May God continue to watch over this beautiful union. I wish you both all the happiness in this life. I wish for the good times to be frequent and the bad times to fade quickly. I wish you the precious blessings of tiny children and the ever-constant support of those that you love. I wish that with each passing sunset, you fall deeper in love until your very last sun sets. If everybody could raise a glass to Julia and Isaac, that you both experience deeper peace and greater happiness together than you ever did apart. To Mr. and Mrs. Isaac Sweet.